Welcome, everybody. This is Two Way Tonight. I'm Mark Halperin, your guide through an hour of incredibly interesting stories. Some very predictable, such as the government shutdown, the president's posture towards the Middle East, the president's posture towards Russia, Ukraine. These are stories we've been living with, talking about, exchanging ideas upon for many days. And then some stories just out of the blue. The president talking about the White House swimming pool, the Obama library. What was the other one? Oh, the New York Times breaking the story that the president wants $250 million from his own defense lawyers who now run the Justice Department. That's an interesting story. And talked at length about the man who may be the next mayor of Gotham City, Mr. Zoran Mondami. Um, so lots to cover. And again, I did my monologue on this on Next Up. Like, can't someone else be in charge of helping make the news? Not just one guy, but every day he sits in the White House in different rooms. I see Hakeem Jeffries is right now on MSNBC. Mr. Jeffries, Mr. Schumer asked asked Mr. Trump to meet with them anytime, any place to talk about the government shutdown before he leaves for Asia on Friday. And the White House attitude seems to be, sure, we'll talk as soon as you provide the votes to end the shutdown. So anyway, my point is, many of you say, look, why do you always pay attention to what Donald Trump says? Well, there's something going on that someday some philosopher historian will explain why it is that this man just gets to decide what the news is. I don't know. I don't want to say I'm perilous, but once again, he talked at the White House. Did he talk twice today or once today? I don't know. I think
At
twice,
least, at
actually.
least
At
twice.
least twice. Yeah. Yeah. I'm remembering he talked twice and both times he said a bunch of he talked. Yeah, if he were on a member of the two-way community and he were on YouTube, he would put smack in the chat. Let's be clear. Uh anyway, and then the vice president and Jared Kushner and Mr. Witkoff talked a little bit in Israel. Well, we'll play some of that for you. Um Anyway, that's what we're going to talk about. And we're going to talk about it in a minute with two great guests. One, he's here so often, he might as well be a co-host. He might as well have his name in the credits, like the professor or Gilligan or Marianne. Um, and the other, I believe, am I right? That she's making her debut on this program? I think
Yes.
so. Okay. Um, both guests are extraordinary, and both have worked at the seniorest levels of dealing with the media in the White House. One for a Republican president, Donald John Trump, one for Democratic president, Joe Robinette Biden. They'll both be here in a moment. And we'll bring them in. We'll do the normal format. We'll kick things around. We'll play some video, largely of one guy who for 10 years just gets to decide what news is. I know, I'll say, I don't like false modesty. I know as much about this as anybody. I've been covering Donald Trump as a media phenomenon since 2011. And I know as much about it as anybody, and I couldn't explain it to a group of Dutch high school students. I couldn't explain it to a Yale graduate school seminar in political science. I couldn't explain it to Mrs. Trump or Governor Pritzker. I couldn't explain it to anybody, and I know a lot about it. But we'll do our best to explain that and talk about the news, and then we'll want your questions. The two-way community vaunted. I don't know if you've watched the morning meeting. We had such great folks on this morning. I learned a ton. Nonstop exchange with the American people, conversations like no other. That's our tagline. Matthew Bartlett, you're an expert on branding. Do you like that tagline? Conversations like no other. Is that good? Yeah, Matthew's thumbs up. So if you're here on the two-way platform, you want to get in on the conversation, raise your hand. And if you're watching on X or YouTube, don't be like Donald Trump. Don't put smack in the chat. Peace, love, and understanding to all. Presumption of grace extended to all. Uh, our guests again will be here in a moment, and I'm not gonna psych myself out or jinx myself by trying to pronounce Yemise's name multiple times. I'm gonna wait till she gets here. But I spent some of my afternoon watching her on television. She's incredible. If Hogan were smart, he wouldn't come. Hogan would call in sick because, as we say in my household, Hogan's going down to Chinatown because he'll be losing. Anyway, before we bring in our guests and kick off, a word from one of our sponsors, Cozy Earth, cozyearth.com. Right now, use the promo code 2way 20% off. 20% off for bamboo sheets or the shirts, anything you want, including the fan favorite bubble cuddle blanket, all 20% off with the promo code two-way. And of course, the pants. I'm wearing the pants right now. People often say, Mark, are you wearing the pants? I am. They're not on camera, though. You're just going to have to believe me. But these all are extraordinarily comfortable, soft, and with the promo code two-way, extraordinarily affordable, 20% off. So go to cozyearth.com right now. Use the promo code two-way. Buy whatever you want, as long as you buy pants and the bedding, because home isn't just where you live, it's how you feel. Let's go home with Cozy Earth. Again, cozyearth.com, promo code two-way. I recommend, and thank you for your attention to that matter. All right, let's bring in our guests. Returning Jeopardy champion, Hogan Gidley, undefeated. Hogan, if you were on Family Feud, who would the other four members of your family be?
I don't know.
You name one. Name one Gidley family member you'd like with you. Your mom?
Sure.
How would you feel if Richard Dawson kissed your mom right on the lips?
I would not have a problem with it.
Not have a problem.
That's a different generation, Mark.
Okay. Hogan Gidley was Sarah Huckabee Sanders' top aide when she worked in the White House press secretary. And Hogan, on occasion, as a deputy White House press secretary, would actually brief from the podium. And he would say things like, let me take that question, or let me circle back with you, right? Would you say stuff like that?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. All right. And Hogan, tell folks who are just new to the platform.
Where do you think Jen Psaki got it from?
Yeah. Tell folks who are new to the platform, what do you do for a living now?
I'm a consultant here in town in Washington, D.C., dealing with everybody from office holders to corporations to political, I guess, issue campaigns as well. So a bunch of different stuff. And it wasn't just Sarah Huckabee I used to work for. I worked for her dad when he was governor of the great state of Arkansas.
You did.
So
that's where
since he was 19 years old.
Where Hogan and I first met was when he worked, I believe, and now he worked for Mike Huckabee, now Ambassador to Israel, and now Hogan also, modesty prevented him from telling you, he's a top advisor to Speaker of the House Mike Johnson, which for some reason has not led to Mike Johnson appearing on Two-Way. Can't figure that out. But
because I'm a smart
yeah. Yeah. All right. Here's our other guest. Watch me now. Yemisi Egbewole.
Yemisi Egbewole.
Yemisi Egbewole. Practically what I said. I'm very grateful for you to be here. And I like I said, I watch you. You do a lot of Fox News, even though you worked in the Biden administration. Tell us why you do that.
Well, you got to go where people are watching broadcast news, and and that is on Fox. I've done MSNBC and the others. I've done Fox with Hogan. Hogan and I see each other in the Fox News green room a lot. But more Dems watch Fox than they do CNN. Yeah. Independents watch Fox. So I said, well, I'll just go where people are watching, and I'll talk to them there.
I have to say, I watched about 6 different episodes of Fox shows with you on, and the hosts treated you with extraordinary respect, like way more than they would treat Hogan.
Oh,
well, tell us a little about yourself. Where did you grow up? How'd you get involved with politics?
Well, hello, everyone. And it's so great to be on here with you, Mark. I've watched a lot more content about you than you've watched about me. So it's very cool to be on here.
Yeah, honored to have you here.
So I have a Nigerian father, Jamaican mother. So raised by immigrant parents in Georgia, Atlanta suburbs, grew up, learned how to speak English by studying State of the Union speeches that presidents did, Clinton, Reagan, Bush, and got into speech and debate kid, government college kid, hopped in during Obama, and really carried myself on through Clinton, 2016, Pennsylvania. So I know what hurt feels like. And started working in the Senate, Mark Warner, then Amy Klobuchar, and then did 4 years with Biden, legislative affairs. And then Anita Dunn gave me the tap when Karine Jean-Pierre became the press secretary and said, why don't you come on over and help us out in the press office? And like everybody in Washington, I do what Anita Dunn says. And I went over and was her chief of staff for the last 2 years of the Biden admin. So kind of made my move into press then, but built really great relationships with a lot of folks across the island, worked really well with Fox, never shut them out
Yeah.
just because they were reporting in a way that wasn't always favorable to us. So I think, when I ended, a lot of folks in the Biden admin kind of looked around and said, where's my place? Where do I fit in? But for me, DC is built on relationships and it's how you treat people. So I just kind of fell right back into my same groove.
And what are you good at? Like, what skills are you best at?
Oh, teaching people how to talk to people in Washington. A lot of what I
Yeah.
do, same with Hogan. I'm a very dirty, swampy consultant.
What kind of clients do you have?
A lot of like private sector clients that work in manufacturing. I was a tech and telecom policy staffer, did a lot of manufacturing. So worked on Senate Commerce for Amy Klobuchar, and then did tech for Mark Warner, who does a really great job on like AI governance. So
Right.
work with a lot of startups, just a lot of groups who are like, how do I talk to a member of Congress? How do I get this thing published here? It's kind of crazy, the questions people ask you, and you go, wow,
Yeah.
Washington really is its own ecosystem and language.
Yeah, it's complicated.
And,
and do you hope to work in the White House again, or are you done with that?
oof, I don't know. Ask me in like a year and a half, maybe. But I'm not aching to get back in there. I mean, also the East Wing was my favorite part of it. So
Hogan's boss is knocking that thing down.
The incentive's gone.
Are there one or two people who might run for president in 28 who you're close to or who you like a lot?
Oh yeah, I have a lot of friends that have dispersed themselves amongst many governors in this great country, and so I really enjoy Wes Moore. He does. I think he does such a great, engaging job of staying close to the middle, but like still being persuasive and interesting. And somebody I talk about all the time on Fox News is Andy Bashir. And these people don't know the great governor of Kentucky. They should. I think he does wonderful, wonderful work, especially as a Democratic governor to a very red state.
Should we take Wes more seriously when he says he's not going to run for president, or is that just something people say?
I think it's something you say when you got to run for the state level thing, but I don't think people should take him serious on that. He's got charisma, and charisma in the Democratic Party is very few and far in between. You got to grasp the people that have it.
All right, one more question, because I think people are enjoying getting to know more about you. This is a little bit of a trick question, but it's not. Who's the best president of your lifetime and why?
Best president of my lifetime?
Yeah, and why?
And why? Well, for me, it's Bill Clinton. Bill Clinton was how I really got into caring about politics.
Yeah.
I think it's funny seeing a lot of his clips go around now and people go, what happened to Democrats? Democrats used to be like this. But I mean, when you hear Bill Clinton talk about crime, when you hear him talk about the economy, working across the aisle, bipartisanship, that used to be our center point. Border. Yes. Also, thank you, Hogan, on the border.
Yeah.
That used to really be our center point. It's what really got me interested and involved in politics. So
when I asked Donald Trump on the set of Morning Joe in 2015, who's the best president since Reagan, who do you think he said?
Himself?
No. This is 2015.
Who
do you think he said? Bill Clinton, same as you.
Bill Clinton. Oh, nice. Okay, look at us. We are on the same page for 2 seconds.
Delighted to have you both here. Grateful to you both. And here we go. Let's talk about the shutdown, because Hogan's client, Mr. Johnson, is heavily involved. And here's the president today in the Oval talking about the concept of, as Schumer and Jeffrey said, we'd like to meet with you, Mr. President. Let's get this sorted out. Well, they met once before. It didn't go very well. Number one, please, Sam.
Love to meet with them. I just want them to open up the country first. The country is so hot right now, and they've never voted against, continuation. They've never voted against. They've never done that. They're doing this because they have Trump derangement syndrome. But I would love to meet. I would like to meet with both of them. But I set one little caveat. I will only meet if they let the country open. They have to let the country open. The people want to go back to work. They want to be served. They need the services of some people. And a lot of people need the money, the payroll. So I'll do it as soon as they open up the country. I'd like to meet them.
All right. I'm just to make sure I got this right. Yemisi.
Yemisi.
Okay. Yemisi. If your phone rang and it said, hold for the leaders, and it was Jeffries and Schumer, and they said, how's it going? Should we stay the course or should we change? What would you tell them?
I would say stay the course. Dig in. Do not give 1 inch. I would say what you did in March put you in the position you are right now. I would say to Chuck Schumer, you decided without talking to the rest of your caucus to side with the Republicans. You completely blindsided folks. Look, you annoyed moderates, but you pissed off progressives and they railed against you. You are at a point where your leadership is being undermined. People are talking about AOC more than they're talking about you. You cannot give in. A shutdown is a game of chicken, and the first person that breaks is the person that owns it.
So no matter how long it goes on, no matter how much people are being hurt, just wait for the Republicans to agree to what? What would you accept as an end to this?
An extension of the subsidies.
Of the healthcare stuff. So, but
Yeah.
you'd say we're not going to vote to open the government until you give us a firm commitment of passage of the extension of the subsidies.
I mean, if Schumer wanted to waffle, and he would say, well, Yemisi, they said that they would talk to me if I just agreed to it. And I would say, oh, they gave you their word. Wow, where have I heard that one before?
Yeah.
I mean, I would just tell him that certain people are going to have to feel the pressure on the Republican side and come to the table on something.
Hogan, I don't get any sense, despite what the press likes to say, that the president's caving, the president wants a deal. I just don't get any sense there's any distance between Thune and Johnson and Trump, and that they think things are fine. And if there's problems in the country, they think people will blame the Democrats. Is that match with what you're sensing?
Well, yes, but as you know, there is no daylight that does exist right now. They are in lockstep, but typically Republicans get blamed for shutdowns, regardless of whether they're in power or not. This is a rare instance, though, because this is so clear and so concise and sharp and strong from a messaging standpoint, because Republicans did vote to keep the government open and to fund programs that help women, infants, and children, that did fund veterans and did fund our troops and air traffic controllers and everything else. And now Democrats are on record voting 12 times against that. So at the very least, we're kind of battling to a stalemate here in the press, which is unheard of. So while I think we should be up 80-20, 90-10 on it, the fact that we're even at 50-50 is kind of a big win for Republicans, and they're staying on message right now, which is something they don't do nearly as well as Democrats by any stretch of the imagination. Interestingly enough, Trump is holding the same line as is Johnson, as is Thune. We're happy to have the conversation about subsidies, but you have to open the government first. You have to vote for the thing you voted for just 6 months ago. You have to vote for the Biden level spending, the COVID era spending. We're not even dealing with COVID, but we still kept it up high. I think government spending is up 57% since the beginning of the Biden administration. I don't know if anyone thinks the government's working 57% better. But even still, let's vote to open the government, which we were told by Democrats, if you didn't, would destroy the whole country. Now all of a sudden they're flipping on that as well. So we're keeping the government shut down for the first time in history over a clean CR, which is quite astounding, to say the least. I think after they did their Hate America rally this past weekend, and after they got kind of their group out there to say their things. And
Hogan, now you're just baiting. Now you're just baiting. All right.
No, I mean, you can only dress up as a unicorn so many times, but whatever. That's what they did.
Okay.
Now they're done with that. And by the way, hold on. The reason I said that
you lapsed into foolishness.
Fetterman told Thune behind the scenes,
we
can't even talk about this until after we get past the Hate America rally. So
if
now
it weren't,
we're past it, we'll see what happens.
What about it was a Hate America rally, Hogan?
Well, other than the fact that a lot of people said they wanted to kill or murder Donald Trump and that they would kill or murder Stephen Miller, that was part of it. Not to mention the fact that a lot of flags out there that were anti-American,
all right.
anti-democracy,
Do you want to respond to Hogan's foolishness, or do you want to move on?
That's not true.
I do want to talk about the No Kings rally, because I have a very nuanced, and I hope nuance is allowed, view on it.
It's almost encouraged.
Okay. Okay. They say 7 million people. I know folks are, mushing at the numbers. They say 7 million people, 2 million more than last time. Either way, it was a heck of a lot of people showed out in all of these major cities. Yes, there were a sprinkling. I will acknowledge there was sprinkling of some signs, and I went, oh my goodness, that is not appropriate, not okay. And we'll always in the Democratic Party have is this a Free Palestine rally, or is this really something about democracy, no kings, right? A little muddled messaging. But I gotta say, a lot of the folks that were out there, they didn't look like me. They looked like boomers, suburban women. And let me tell you something, to me, suburban women are gold. I just want to tap into them. I want to know what they're thinking. I want to gain all of their power. And they were the people that really drove this rally. I'm going to be honest with y'all. I was at brunch in Georgetown. So I did not attend the rally. But from what I saw,
were there any kings at your brunch?
At Le Bon Vache, the French ones, yeah.
Yeah.
Most DC thing ever said on this program. I was at brunch in Georgetown, didn't make the rally.
No,
I'm
So good.
the most DC thing was I had brunch at Le Diplomat with Kellyanne. I think that's the most
Yeah,
DC.
there you go.
Okay, here's
Yeah.
Chuck Schumer. One more on the shutdown. Here's Senator Schumer talking about whether there's a break point coming for his party.
and SNAP were supposed to run out of funding on November 1st. Does that change Democrats' calculus at all?
No, it should change Republican calculus. They should sit down and negotiate a way to address this crisis. They caused it. They're the ones maintaining it. All they got to do is sit down and do what has been done time and time and time again on any of these CR issues. Sit down and negotiate with the other side. Ask them.
All right, we're going to move on. We talked about the shutdown the whole hour. We'll get to your questions in a moment. Raise your hand if you wanted. I want to play the president talking about Putin. Here's a headline from the Washington Post, number 8, Sam. Trump says no Putin-Trump summit anytime soon. The decision came after Lavrov said Trump's call for a ceasefire contradicted the understanding he reached with Putin. It's strange because Lavrov, the foreign minister of Russia, and Marco Rubio, Secretary of State, talked. And some press accounts said the call went so well, there was no need for a Putin-Trump meeting. But most of the reporting suggests no. And here's the tiebreaker. The president himself speaking at the White House today. Number 9, please.
I don't want to have a wasted meeting. I don't want to have a waste of time, so I'll see what happens. But we did all of these great deals, great peace deals. They're all peace deals. They're agreements, solid agreements, every one of them. But this one, and I said, go to the line of battle, the battlefield lines, and you pull back and you go home, and everybody take some time off because you got two countries that are killing each other. Two countries are losing 5,000 to 7,000 soldiers a week. So we'll see what happens. We haven't made a determination.
Hogan, where do you feel this is headed?
Again, something that Donald Trump has to clean up from the previous administration. And he's trying to bring both sides to the table. You see him talk to Putin a couple times. You see him talk to Zelensky a couple times as well. I don't know where it goes. I just know he's trying to orchestrate some type of off-ramp for both leaders to save face to some degree. The consistent arming of the weaponry. Remember, I mean, the reason Ukraine was able to stop Russia's initial onslaught and has been able to keep up what they've been able to keep up is because it was Donald Trump that gave him weapons the first time around. So he just wants the killing to end. And so he's going to try and insert himself the ways he can to try and do it. I will say this, interestingly enough, when you talk about trying to end foreign wars or get in international affairs, you know it is very nuanced. It is very difficult. These things have been going on for decades, if not generations in many cases. He is not afraid of not accomplishing a peace deal. Who would keep going back to the well in the Middle East, for heaven's sakes? The same thing applies here. He's not afraid of it. It's just there are some times where he realizes I need to step back and let these two guys figure a few things out first before I insert myself. Yeah. So I look for him to still have a hand in it.
Yemisi, do you know this guy, Ned Price, who worked in the Biden administration?
Yeah, I know Ned. Yeah.
Did you read his op-ed piece in the Washington Post?
No, I didn't read Ned's piece.
He said Donald Trump's a bum and a scoundrel and a horrible guy, but he's done some things on foreign policy that are pretty good. And it's one of the rare times I've seen in public any Obama-Biden person say, hey, there's stuff to learn here. And one of the things he said is Donald Trump's not afraid to talk to our enemies, and he's not afraid to do things that maybe the public doesn't necessarily like if he thinks it's good foreign policy. I'm just wondering how you'd appraise the job the president's doing on Russia, Ukraine right now.
Yeah, I mean, even Brett McGurk, right, who used to work on our side in NSC and also did Obama, has praised the president. And look, Brett and Ned know way more than I do on when it comes to foreign policy. So I always read and listen to whatever they like to say over there. But I think Ukraine Russia is a bipartisan issue for Democrats and Republicans. It's an easy win for the president as long as people feel like he is not kowtowing or uplifting Putin in any way. I think folks agree we should give aid to Ukraine and we should support Ukraine, that the stability of American democracy depends on Russia not getting a stronghold there. It just always depends on what's your number. And for Dems, that number is a lot higher than it is for Republicans on how much we're willing to support Ukraine.
Yep. Very good. Very well said. Sam, can we dip into Fox News right now? Is that possible? I just want to hear what this is Andrew Cuomo on Breadberry. He's been doing a lot of Fox.
It's very hard for a Republican to win in New York City on the numbers. But a vote for Curtis Lee was a vote for Zoran Mandami. Make no doubt about that. And people are going to know that. Now, do Republicans want to vote for a Democrat? You know, a lot of Republicans like to stay on the Republican line. I understand that. Democrats like to stay on the Democratic line. But life is options. You have a choice. You can vote for the socialist or you can vote for Cuomo. Republicans know me, Brett. I was governor for 11 years. They know what I did. I ran this state well. It was fiscal discipline. We didn't go up more than 2%. I cut taxes for the middle class. I cut estate taxes. I cut manufacturing taxes.
Republicans have a whole bunch of things, including COVID-19, they look back at. I just want to end with this, Governor, and that is columnist David Marcus. He says on X, once again, I'm asking, if Mamdani is such a threat that Sliwa has to drop out, then why haven't New Yorkers Chuck Schumer and Hakeem Jeffries endorsed Cuomo? I want that answer before anyone makes the ask of Curtis Sliwa. Why haven't Democrats who may be concerned about democratic socialism or worse of what could happen, why haven't they endorsed you?
Yeah, why haven't the Republicans endorsed Sliwa? Look, in
all right,
these elections,
dump out of this. What do you think of this race? What's the best outcome for the Democratic Party?
The best outcome is the one that's going to happen, is that Zoran Mamdani will be the next mayor of New York City. The mistake Dems made at the beginning was endorsing Andrew Cuomo to begin with. That is a deep blue city. There is a bench of talented Democrats, and there are many people that Michael Bloomberg could have poured his pot of money into and that the Clintons could have given their strong endorsement to. They wasted both of those on Andrew Cuomo, thinking that we would forget about the sexual harassment and the COVID-19 grandmothers. Nobody did. This isn't the 2020 arena of politics. You don't get to just do bad things, disappear, and come back and say all is forgiven. No, he had to take accountability. He didn't even do a sit-down one-on-one interview with some local New York channel and say, I am so sorry for what I did. I'm ready to move forward and start a new path. He came in and he said, my name's on a bridge. You should already know the work that I've done. Vote for me. And people didn't buy it.
Hogan, any chance? Sliwa reaffirmed yet again today he doesn't plan to get out. So race is over.
I think everything's over, but the counting. I feel as though at this point, Mamdani's run the race that he wanted to run. I still don't know why he's doing debates and going on television with like Martha McCallum, for example. That would be, I would never have advised him to do that when you're that.
No, but that was good, Hogan. That was good.
It was good. I'm saying I would never advise him.
He did great.
Campaign. Once he became the mayor, sure, because you can only fail and falter. And of course, now a lot of stuff has come out about him, whatever. He's going to be the mayor. And even if Sliwa got out at this point, like Yemisi said, Cuomo's no prize. You talk about old, stale politicians. That's one of the great examples of one. And he had a lot of failures, too. He's touting his successes, but there are a lot of failures New Yorkers remember. And so even if Sliwa gets out, I don't think there are enough votes there to get this tied at all.
All right. We'll skip over the Middle East because hands up, and I want to get to folks in the community. So one more topic. Again, the main message today, the vice president was, and the president said much the same thing. It's up to Hamas to do the right thing, but American ground troops are very unlikely in the extreme to go into Gaza. Karine Jean-Pierre's book is out. She's getting some criticism for it from some quarters. She's doing a lot of media. Here she is talking about something she's been asked about every interview I've seen her do, which is about the president's cognitive state. Number 21, please.
It's like, if he had dementia, the country got better. You know what I mean? I remember what it was like so it's one of the two. Either he was a mess and he couldn't function, or it's such a contradiction.
Because objectively he did the the country was in a better position.
All the data.
All the data shows. And that was because of his direction, his instruction, and what he wanted to get done on behalf of the American people. And so that is my truth. That is what I saw.
Yemisi, how do you feel about that answer? And do you have a point of view about whether the president suffered meaningful cognitive decline during his 4 years?
Yeah, I mean, she talks about her one-on-one time with him, and she says that she didn't see anything. I think a lot of the younger staffers that worked for President Biden and have less of that, attachment to him from watching him in the Senate and as VP and things like that, because I know she worked for him when he was VP. I mean, we saw the president get old, and we saw things where we thought, I'm not sure if the president should run again. But every senior advisor that existed in that White House looked at us and said, president can run again, and everybody supports him. And even when Pelosi was coming in, all of the members of Congress started coming in and saying, we're not sure about this. They doubled down. And, so our leadership was pretty 100% confident that he could run again. So it's been interesting to watch her book tour and the media tour as it continues, because, I mean, she's just going to have to answer for the fact that she sat on TV and told people he's sharper than me. Now, listen, I thought Joe Biden was funny and that he was tactful, but I'm not going to say that any man in his 80s is sharper than me.
Right. Hogan,
I don't even think men in their 30s are sharper than me.
Hogan, if she came on the Hogan Gidley podcast, what's the main chief question you would ask her about the book or anything?
Oh, it would be what she knew and when she knew it, because this is kind of following the same tact as Kamala Harris, is some type of big, I'm going to do a tell-all type situation. She changes parties, makes a big deal of that. Watch me come out big and bold. And then she's still kind of covering up, telling the same lies she was before. And then I've also heard from other sources, and you've got them, Mark, that tell me she wasn't even allowed in meetings a lot of times. It was other people there. So she could be telling the truth in that she didn't see any cognitive decline because she didn't have the access that press secretaries typically would have either.
Although, Hogan, you're glossing over the main point I make. It's my standard joke about this, but it's got a lot of truth to it. You didn't need inside access. You just needed a C-SPAN subscription.
I know.
So I mean, she didn't need access to the president to see what everybody saw. Well before the debate, it's still confusing to me.
But if she's saying what she saw privately, she's asked what she saw privately.
Yeah.
She said, I didn't see this privately, maybe because you weren't around him.
Yeah. Okay. Take your point. If you want to get in the conversation, please raise your hand. We're going to go to your questions in 1 minute, literally, after a word from another sponsor. Hogan, when you first came on the show, there were no sponsors. Now we're lousy with sponsors, including our newest sponsor, the good folks at Ethos. Go to ethos.com/2way to get, it's an online platform that makes getting life insurance easy and fast to protect your family's future. Nothing better than security. And again, we've all seen families that don't have life insurance for the primary breadwinner, and it's not a great situation. And a lot of people don't get it because it's complicated. They think the process is difficult. With Ethos, it is not. Peace of mind is just a phone call away. Online platform does make it easy, not a complicated process. 100% online. No medical exam is required. You just answer a few health questions, get a quote in as little as 10 minutes. Get a free quote, ethos.com/2way. Again, ethos.com/2way, get a free quote. Application times can vary, but as little as 10 minutes. And it's an opportunity to give your family peace of mind. Again, ethos.com/2way. All right, here come questions. We start with Tammy. Tammy, welcome in. Tell folks who don't know where you are and what's on your mind for our guests.
See, my shirt says the morning meeting.
Oh, we love that one. What do you know? Is that a salmon? What color is that?
No, it's like Lolly. They come up with their own names.
Yeah, they have great names. Anyway, if you want to look as great as Tammy does, go to 2way.com/fairway, 20% off with the code 2way20. I like that one. I don't have that one. I'm going to get it. The quarter zip, right?
Get this, beautiful. And I have a 2way one, and I have Cozy Earth. I bought so much Cozy Earth, they gave me my own discount code.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, welcome and thank you for patronizing our sponsors. We appreciate it. What's on your mind for our two great guests?
It's healthcare. So the only thing I ever hear both Democrats and Republicans talk about is either Medicare or Medicaid, right? And most people talk about it because it's inexpensive. But there's so many other people, including myself, that have to pay all these high premiums, right? So through my employer, our healthcare is inexpensive for 3 people, right? But I even pay less than my mom does on Medicare. But the other problem is we also own a small business and there are no options for us and our employees. We pay through the roof for Medicare or for healthcare because you have limited options, right? And then I know people who, make a decent living, but they can't afford healthcare. There's $500 premiums, $9,000 deductible, so on and so forth. So I know that there's this discussion about Medicare and Medicaid, but what is the government going to do to address the overall problem that has not gotten better for like the last 15 to 20 years? And I do not want universal health care, and I don't want the government managing it because I don't think they'll do it effectively. But what are the options and who will do something about it?
Great question. Go ahead.
Can I just say, I think that that's a wonderful question, because that is the next conversation that has to happen when we get past this shutdown, because the fact that we had to subsidize Obamacare in the first place needs to be a greater conversation. It's this big healthcare plan that we are so proud of and we've lifted up, but there really are issues with it. And I think this shutdown is one of the most glaring issues, because people were like, wait, there were subsidies for it. And it's like, yeah, there have to be subsidies for it. It's incredibly expensive. And like during COVID, it was incredibly hard for people to like maintain those payments and hit those premiums. So I think past this shutdown, that has to be the next conversation of what are actually long lasting ways people can afford their healthcare. Because this is short term.
Yep.
Yeah. The other thing I wanted to say too is the way the insurance manages the requirements to get services for surgery, as an example. Like, oh, you have to do these 5 things that aren't needed in order to get the surgery, right? So it's even like how the insurance is managed and administered.
Yeah. Very well said, Hogan.
Even Yemisi just said that we need to address this issue once we get past the shutdown. I agree, Yemisi. We should open the government and get past then get past the conversation. This will be one of the defining issues heading into the midterms, no question about it. The House has set up a structure and has worked with both sides, Republicans and Democrats, to try and fix this problem. You said something funny, Tammy, that you said healthcare has gotten so bad in the last 15 years. What happened 15 years ago to healthcare? That's right. It was Obamacare. Now we're dealing with the same problems that we told would be fixed if we passed this wonderful thing, which of course it hadn't fixed anything. Premiums have gone up somewhere around 60%, and it should be noted, as high as 60% over the last 15 years of the program. It should be noted there was a reduction mechanism for people's payments to healthcare by about 15 to 18% in the One Big Beautiful Bill, of course, which Democrats voted against. But just understand this, the mere fact that if we open the government now and we wanted to continue the subsidies as they are continuing right now, Democrats have already said publicly they will reject that. So that is an admission that even continuing to give subsidies to this program at COVID era level numbers still won't sustain the program, admitting it is a complete and total abject failure. However, the conversation cannot and should not be, in my estimation as a strategist, about Obamacare, because people largely like Obamacare. They like their health care. What you need to discuss is, how do we bring down your premiums? How do we bring down your cost?
Yeah.
And my understanding, Republicans are on the precipice of announcing a plan that does just that.
Okay. If you're listening on the podcast version of this program, and it is available as a podcast, you would have missed Hogan's promiscuous use of air quotes just now, just so you know.
Healthcare.
Exactly. Healthcare, air quotes. Tammy, thank you. Forgot to mention the economy. So let's look at the markets, market close. New record for the Dow, 22B. It's been hovering around a new record after a little bit of yielding some gains. But here is the Dow setting a new record, according to CNBC, just below 47,000 on strong Coca-Cola and 3M earnings. Here at the market close for all the markets, 22C, brought to you by our friends at the Bahnsen Group. NASDAQ inexplicably down, but S&P up and Dow up. Reminder, if you want to stay current on the economy, we recommend the Bahnsen Group's newsletter, Dividend Cafe. Go to 2way.tv/TBG, the Bahnsen Group, to subscribe. That thing is free, ladies and gentlemen. Comes out 5 days a week, and it's got funny jokes. All right, Matthew, welcome in. Tell folks who don't know where you are, what's on your mind for Yemisi and Hogan. After you unmute, of course. There you go.
Hey, here I am. I'm in from Stamford, Connecticut, so right outside the city. I was actually watching that debate last week, and I got to say, that Mamdani guy, he's very articulate and quite appealing. I could see why he's so popular. My question is really on healthcare, though. Like, I know it's such a complicated issue. I took health economics in college, and I remember it just being like such a difficult class to get through, and it's just so complicated and so many moving parts. But I heard a stat one time, and it was like most people use a lot of their healthcare like the last few years of their life, and
It's like 80.
that's really where primarily a lot of the cost comes from. And me, like at my age, I'm looking for a house. So are a lot of people I work with right around my age, right around like a 30-year-old age, right? People are looking for homes, and the prices are so high. And these old people just never sell their house. I'm like, why can't these guys just sell their house and pay for their healthcare at some point or another? I mean, what is going on here? It's like ridiculous. I mean, I feel bad for young kids, but older people, what's going on with these people? Can you guys move to a smaller place? I mean, so I don't know. That was kind of my comment here. I don't know if that's
Yeah.
a question.
Okay, that's a great question. Yemisi, go ahead.
Why can't these older folks move to a different place? I don't know.
They're living in a $2 million house. I mean, what are we talking
Yeah.
about here? And then I got to
Yeah.
subsidize them?
It's these, so this is why this is why we had death panels.
Yeah.
Some
That's
of
what
these.
it sounds
No,
like.
no,
It
look,
almost feels like we're like, why can't they die?
Yeah,
I thought he was going to say, why can't they die? That's what I thought he was
par-
going to say.
Neither party has solved this problem, which anyone who studies healthcare statistics knows. An extraordinarily high percentage of spending on healthcare occurs in the last year of life. Extraordinarily high. It's like, I forget what the numbers. It's
80,
shocking. It's like 80%,
84?
80% in the last year of life. So it is complicated, but we're a compassionate society, and of course, inexplicably, we're the only industrialized democracy that doesn't have some version of single payer. And so our system is crazy complicated. And it's further complicated by this accident of history that after World War II, this thing grew up where businesses competed for employees by offering health insurance. It's so irrational to offer health insurance through employers. It doesn't make any sense. It adds so much problems to the healthcare system and the economy, and yet a very high percentage of our folks get it that way.
I couldn't agree more.
Also, Matthew, I do want to share in your plight. You were a health economics major in college?
No. I just took a class.
You took a class, okay.
Just one class.
It was just health economics. I just took a
Because
class.
I was a broadcast journalism major, equally as difficult and equally as taxing on your understanding of things. So I just wanted to share in your plight there. I get it.
Hogan, how could it be you don't have a podcast? How could that be?
I've had one before.
Okay.
I like to seed the ground to more
Yeah.
talented people like you,
Yeah.
Mark, and let you just run the show.
Matthew, thank you for that. Brennan, welcome in. Tell folks who don't know where you are, what's on your mind for our guests.
I'm calling in from Rhode Island, and I wanted to talk about the gubernatorial races in New Jersey and Virginia.
Yes, sir.
It's a two-parter. Is Turning Point USA on the ground like they were in Arizona? And more broadly, has the DNC or the RNC learned the lessons from Charlie Kirk from the presidential election?
Those are two great questions. Hogan, you want to go first on those?
Sure. I don't know if they're utilizing some of the things that Turning Point has done. Obviously, those things are very effective, efficient. And I was friends with Charlie Kirk. I'm not sure yet, but I might be going to the Turning Point USA event in Oxford, Mississippi at Ole Miss next week. We'll see. But I know they are still working to achieve the goals they set out to achieve before, which is not just be involved at the local level at college campuses, but actually effectuate some change in the outcome with the registration, with the get out the vote efforts. Whether they're doing that in those states, it's a long way to say. I'm not entirely sure. It's funny with elections. I want to say I'm sure they are, but at the same time, I don't know that they are, because it's not because you're not hearing about it. It's just because those are such the non-sexy parts of politics.
Yeah.
The nothing that's out front. These are the roll up the sleeves, get to work type stuff, which Charlie was so good at. So I hope they are. I just don't know that they are.
Yeah, see, I saw a tweet the other day, and I didn't follow up on it. It showed the cash on hand disparity between the RNC and the DNC, and it was like 80 to 8 or something million.
Yeah, it's the lowest.
So and the voter registration trending continue to be poor. Since Kamala Harris lost, what can you cite for the Democratic Party that's a positive trend on institution building, on get out the vote or registration or fundraising? What's going well that you see, or maybe there isn't anything?
Well, I actually went to an event that the DNC chair, Ken Martin, was speaking at just yesterday, and he talked about the focus and investment in local and state elections. Democrats totally lost. He gave Hogan, he gave Republicans a lot of credit for this. He said that Republicans focused on mayoral races, school board elections. They focused on where like actual policy is built, how communities are formed, what shapes people's messaging and mindset. And he talked about the strides that they've made, like Dems. And again, these are things that are also not sexy, like somebody winning in like a local city council election. But he talked about the strides that Democrats were making at those like small local levels. And I do think Democrats are very reactive. We come out and we ask people to help every 4 years, and we don't build. And this is something Charlie Kirk did such a great job with Turning Point. We don't build like this kind of like community and fan base that like carries year after year. And so then when Trump is down allies and he says, I need some help and partnership, who does he turn to? He turns to Charlie Kirk, because there's a whole base that he can tap into. There's not really that on the Democratic side. And so he talked a lot about building that up. I'm not sure in this modern era if like a lot of Democrats really look to the DNC. I don't know how much influence the RNC has within the Republican Party, but I do feel like there are these big machines that have always existed in politics, and they've been our drivers. And now that people can have podcasts, have their own shows, talk to people, right, direct to camera, right? I'm not sure that we need so many of these institutions dictating where we go.
Before Hogan gets in, did Chairman Martin inspire a lot of confidence in you from that event?
If I went in with 20% confidence, he got me up to 47.
That's pretty good.
That's pretty good.
And what did that? The quality of the presentation, or the specifics of his ideas? What moved you up?
I was talking to somebody from Third Way about this. I don't know if anybody pays attention to Third Way, but it's a really great centrist think tank, and they released a memo about the focusing less on these identity qualifiers and the way that Dems message and talk to people, right, and the safe space of it all, and more on just like what hurts in your wallet, what can you put on the dinner table. And he really talked a lot about, he said the words affordability, and let me tell you, those words are music to my ears. I don't want to talk to any Democrat who wants to talk about a pronoun this or that. I want you to talk about the utilities. I want you to talk about the monthly costs for American people. That's where Dems need to go.
Hogan.
Democrats for a long time, I would argue, are way better at local politics than Republicans, in large part because they had all of those school boards. They had all of those county commissioners. They had the local races. Republicans only get involved in election years, and usually after Labor Day, it's way too late. I think what Donald Trump did, and I think some of the outside groups like AFPI, somewhere else I've worked, and also Charlie Kirk and others, got people involved year round, which is something new for us. And when we did that, we realized we could effectuate change. And I go back to my first boss in politics, Governor Mike Huckabee, who said, the more local the office, the easier it is to effectuate change. And so I think we realized, hey, you want to change something that's going on at schools, you got to go to school board. Don't run for governor, run for school board. And as you got people more involved at the local level and you got some successes, I think it did build us up. And I think a lot of the Democrats fell away from some of that in the last couple of years. I still think they have a monopoly on NGOs and things like that, although with the president and his administration looking at where that funding's going and who's funding it and all of that, that gravy train could stop too. But I still think Republicans played catch up pretty quick. And we are typically, I would argue, Yemisi, we're reactive because the first time Democrats sent out a text message to the DNC to get money via text, the RNC did not do it for 9 years. It took us 9 years to catch up where Democrats were, not to mention what Donald Trump did with what Barack Obama did with Facebook, which was revolutionary. Took us a couple of cycles to get caught up. And once we did, we were fine, but it took us a minute to get get
Yeah, but then how did you, now they've surpassed us, like we really did used to be the ones that we had the tech folks, tech flocked to Dems. It gave money to Dems. All the platforms, it looked like Democrats had a good handle on it. Now it feels like all the popular podcasts, all the TikTokers, it's all on the right side. And so I think Dems have to re-engage with media and grab that back.
It's what you just said, though. I think the reason why is they're focused on the issues that don't matter to people. It's all the gender stuff and all this kind of nonsense that most people don't care about. So if they get back focused on issues that drive turnout and that affects people's lives, regardless of your race, religion, color, or creed, that matters as opposed to some little weird niche issue that you're standing up for that I don't think resonates with the vast majority of the people.
Yeah. Brennan, thanks for the question. I want to ask you both that something I heard today from one of my smarter sources. And I know you're not Becky Quick and Joe Kernan, but have you guys heard about the price of water going up, like your water bill? You guys heard this? Either of you heard this? No. Anyway, it's a sleeper issue, I'm told. Watch the price of water. Utilities, but water apparently is become expensive. All right, one more word from one more sponsor, and then we'll get another question in. So again, if you want to be in the conversation, please raise your hand. Our last sponsor is Hogan's favorite. It's CB Distillery. Those nights when you just can't sleep, you're sore from working out, and Hogan works out 3 times a day. That's where the products from CB Distillery could help you out. Quality product, highest quality, clean ingredients, no fillers. Hogan hates fillers, just premium CBD. If you want to deal with these kind of issues, for some it helps with mood. Over 2 million people have trusted the quality products from CB Distillery. Go right now if you want, looking for better sleep solution, less stress solution, feeling comfortable. Go to cbdistillery.com. Use the promo code 2way for 25% off your entire order. 25% off. Go to promo code 2way. Go to cbdistillery.com. And of course, tell them Hogan J. Gidley sent you.
Jay Hogan, sure.
Jay Hogan, yeah. All right, thank you both. Let's get another question in. Here we go. Daryl. Just like Daryl Strawberry. I always like to do that.
Remember that
Daryl,
cheer? That was great.
Yeah. Daryl, unmute. Tell folks where you are who don't know and what's on your mind for our 2 guests.
This is great. Can you all hear me all right?
Yes, sir.
Very good. Mark, I have to tell you first, my wife and I have been watching you since back on your Morning Joe days. And I'm so, we started listening before the election and just delighted to see your whole redemptive arc, let's call it that.
I appreciate that, Daryl. Thank you. Yeah. Grateful to you.
So I know you don't read the chat because I was messaging you that I'm actually here visiting your great city in your area of the city, Upper East Side. And I needed your dinner recommendation. I'm here and I had to do it solo. I had to guess what you would have ordered. I'm at the Cafe Commerce and I ended up getting the steak Diane. So very
sounds like you're doing well. Just so you know, Daryl, I've never been to the Upper East Side. I'm a West Side guy, so I hear it's nice over there. I hear it's nice over there, but I don't have a passport. I can't go any further east than 6th Avenue. But good for you.
Maybe I should be asking Dan then on the morning show. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, Daryl, where do you live in real life, Daryl?
Jacksonville, Florida.
Jacksonville, Florida. Incredible place. That's a massive city.
It is the biggest by landmass in the country.
Yeah.
Because there is no distinction between Duval County and Jacksonville.
Yeah. And Daryl, do you call it the Free State of Florida? Do you use that?
No.
Okay.
I haven't heard anyone say that.
Yeah. Well, welcome to New York. It's a balmy 62 degrees here, so you probably have a parka with you. What's on your mind for our guests?
Well, let's call it a New York state of mind, being up here and listening to all the talk about Mom Donnie. And I don't know, maybe I'm naive, but just help me to explain how one person could have such an outsized impact. You know, I think about, isn't there a legislative body that goes along with his ability to actually influence change?
Yeah.
I guess I'm just trying to think, is that a whole lot to do about nothing?
Yeah, well, there's 2 legislative bodies. There's a city council, and then the mayor's powers in a lot of areas are really shaped by Albany, by the state legislature. So you're absolutely right. Almost everything he says he wants to do that's gotten attention, he almost certainly can't do. So it's a little bit of a weird situation.
I mean, so it's like, I don't know. I mean, is it just about him sort of defining a party? Is that what all the whole to do is about?
Well, these weak offices, like the governor of Texas, is a very weak position constitutionally, but the right person can do a lot. And you saw Mike Bloomberg and Giuliani, certainly, and some other mayors historically. They've done a lot with the job, because if you're charismatic and you work hard, and this guy is very charismatic, so I don't rule out that he'll get stuff done. But I've been.
The city council and the legislature won't vote with it?
They might. I've been very bullish on it, in the sense that ever since it became clear he was almost certainly going to win, and now certainly, unless something changes. I just think even if you don't like the guy, even if you distrust him, socialist, communist, anti-Semite, whatever people want to say about him, let's make the best of it. I mean, let's try to make him a successful mayor. Just as people say, I want the president to succeed no matter who the president is. Everybody should want the mayor of New York to succeed. So I'm rooting for him if he wins, even though, I know a lot of people have serious questions about it. And will this council does what he want? Maybe, but it's not easy. Our city council's it's like herding high cats, blind high cats, not just cats, but cats who are blind and high. That's a more difficult task. Well, maybe not. Maybe if they're blind, it's easier to hurt them. I don't know. I got to think the metaphor through.
So
But
is he so I on TV and like on social and all that stuff, I get like why, especially why younger, like the Gen Zers are all excited about him. But like in person, are there any stories around, is he actually likable? Meaning in real life, like in working with him? Okay.
He's
So
a very likable guy.
It's not all just manufactured.
No. He's a very likable guy. But I just read Bret Stephens' column about why some Jewish New Yorkers distrust him, and it's a very sobering piece because there's stuff in there about his past. And again, he's 34. So when people say, "Well, what did he do in college?" That's not ancient history. Hogan has boxes of wheat checks that are that old in the kitchen. I went with wheat checks, Hogan. Is that all right? Maybe corn checks because of gluten.
Grape nuts, baby.
Grape nuts.
Old school.
Man, those things are not
Awesome.
good. They're not good.
Awesome.
And anyway, people have questions about him, but is he personally likable? Yes. And I think that'll serve him well. That'll serve him well.
He's willing to come to the middle a bit.
Yeah.
So.
Who he picks as police commissioner will say a ton. Doesn't have to pick the incumbent if he doesn't want her, but he's got to pick somebody who will keep the city safe. Daryl, enjoy New York City. I've left 2 tickets for Saturday Night Live at the front desk, so enjoy.
Very good. I'll be right over.
All right, thank you, and thank you for your kind words, Hogan. It's very hard to get tickets to Saturday Night Live. Either of you ever been in the audience there?
I've been in the studio a bajillion times.
Yeah, it's a very hard ticket, even if you're like a very well connected person.
Yeah.
They just don't make them that available. I've never been, and I've tried, but never been.
I can't believe you hadn't been on it.
If you, I was once portrayed on Saturday Night Live.
That's
on
true.
A Morning Joe sketch by that guy who was in the AT&T ads, I think. I can't remember. Anyway, it was a decent portrayal, I felt. But exit question here. If you could have tickets to Saturday Night Live, you have any host and any musical guest, who would you pick? They don't have to have done it before. Just anybody who plausibly could host the show, and it'd be the musical guest. Who would you pick? Hogan.
Will Ferrell.
Yeah.
And I would ask Morgan Wallen back again.
That's brilliant. That's a very good choice. Hard to top that. Yemisi, top that.
I mean, my musical artist guess would be Beyonce. It wouldn't be.
Queen Bee.
Queen Bee.
Yeah. Okay. And who would you want for host?
If I had a host, I'd want to see Brad Pitt.
Brad Pitt and Beyonce.
Yeah.
That would be a good episode.
That would be such a powerhouse. Yeah.
Yeah. Harry Connick Jr. You want Harry Connick as your host? I'm looking at the chat, which I never read the chat, but I glance at it. I would take I would just take Taylor Swift for both. Sorry.
Oh my gosh. And then for Matthew to say that he would take Drake, but Beyonce's overrated. Okay, talk to Kendrick Lamar about that.
No.
Okay.
there's two musical artists who are not overrated, and they are Taylor Swift and Beyonce. Just true fact.
Okay.
True fact.
Beyonce has way more range. It's not even close.
God, thank you, Hogan. Thank you. Oh my God.
Yeah.
I like Taylor Swift, but Beyonce.
They're both geniuses. Let's just stipulate they're both geniuses.
Yeah, fine. They're both
and they're both great business people. And I've only seen one of them working out at my gym.
And both of them are horrible at politics.
True. Also true.
They don't pick winners.
Very, very grateful to you both for being here. I hope you'll both come back. Enjoyed having you. And if they want to see your work, what socials are you on? Like,
find me at my name. There's only going to be one of me on Instagram, Threads, TikTok, even LinkedIn,
everywhere.
Somebody help me get back on X. And
were you booted off?
I know a guy.
Were you booted off?
I'm at at Yemisi, but I got off for like 5 years and I just can't find the password. I just need someone to reset.
Hogan can connect you to a guy who's got a
It
big
was like
job
a
there.
tacit blame on somebody. And then she was like, yeah, I just forgot the password.
Yeah. That's funny. All right now, turn over to Michael Moynihan's channel here on the Two Way platform for Thomas Chatterton Williams, author of Some of Our Discontent. Watch that now, and then I'll be back 9 a.m. Eastern time tomorrow morning with Sean and Dan for the morning meeting. Very grateful to you both for spending the hour with us, and look forward to having you back. And you're pretty good together. I may cast you for a podcast or something.
Yemisi.
Thank you, Yemisi.
Yeah. I work out too. I work out, so
yeah.
he's not the only one.
Yeah, I understand. You both have guns. Thank you both. Grateful to you. Have a great evening, everybody. I'll see you at 9 a.m. Thank you, Yemisi.
Bye.